Hello everyone, let's look at yesterday's Leetcode problem 2014 longest subsequence repeated k times. Before starting this problem, let us look at a motivational quote for today. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Henry Ford. Why you fail? It might be due to lack of preparation or practice or fear of mistakes or taking action, unclear goals or direction, trying to avoid discomfort or challenge. Why failing is good? You learn faster. Every mistake teaches what doesn't work. You build resilience. Pushing through failure grows confidence and toughness. It reveals your weak spots, helps you focus on what to improve next. It means you are trying. People who fail are in the game, not on the sidelines, right? So yeah, lot of good points to uh, cultivate in oneself, right? So let us look at this problem. You are given a string s of length n and an integer k. You are tasked to find the longest subsequence repeated k times in a string s. A subsequence is a string that can be derived from another string by deleting some or no characters without changing the order of the remaining characters. A subsequence seq is repeated k times in the string if a sequence into k is subsequence of s, where sequence into k represents a string constructed by concatenating sequence k times, right? So let's say BBA is repeated two times then in the string, so this looks like this, right? Okay, so this is understood clearly. So this example is understood and this statement is clearly understood. Okay, return the longest subsequence repeated k times in a string. If multiple such subsequences are found, return the lexicographically largest one. Right? If there is no such subsequence, return an empty string. Okay, so let us look at this example. So lead code. So we can build two subsequences here. So one is this part of the subsequence, which is let and this one, right? Or ete and ete. These are two subsequences. In case of b, b is repeated two times, so b is an output here. In case of ABB, the length of the length of the string S is only two times, so there is no character which gets repeated two times, so it's an empty string. Okay, let's uh, come up with an approach on how to solve this problem. So first thing is let us have let us consider, let's say when we are talking about this example here, let's lead code and we are considering this as string s and k is equals to 2. uh, let us filter out let us find frequency of all characters and let us consider, let us ignore characters which are less than k times. And next thing is we are going to only characters consider characters where it is less than or equal to frequency of I is less than or equal to divided by k is less than or equal to greater than or equal to k times, right? So we are only going to consider characters whose frequency is greater divided by k uh, should be greater than or equal to intex. So let me rewrite here. So what I mean here is, let's say we find all the frequency of characters. So let's say if a character frequency divided by k is greater than 0, then we can consider this to be uh, uh, this to be part of the output subsequence. We also need to consider lexicographically subsequence. So we can sort frequency of characters that we have to alphabetical order, a minus b, right? So that's something that we can do. And next thing is, we need to find all valid subsequences from the characters that we have, and then we can check subsequence into k times is in order of the given string characters. So what this statement means here is, so let's say we have lead code and let's lead code. So if you see, we have L is equals to 2 and E is equals to 1 2 3 4, T is equals to 2 times, S is equals to 1 times, C is equals to 1 time, same goes for O and T. So we can only consider these three characters. So let's say if we do LEE into 2 times, even though we have LEE here, LEE, and we do not have another E right here. So we need to check for such subsequences. So this won't be a valid subsequence. So we need to build a function valid subsequence. That's the whole point. And then we are going to also have another, so we are all going to do it with a queue where we start off with an empty value, and let's say answer is an empty string at the beginning, and we are going to have a for loop where we loop over characters and we check if is subsequence candidate string, then we push to the, so we consider this candidate dot length is greater than answer, or candidate dot length is equals to answer dot length, and candidate is greater than answer, then we can say answer is equals to candidate. And once we find such substrings, then we can simply queue the next value, queue certain next values, right? So we can return. So another optimization when we are performing or iterating through characters, finding subsequence and creating this answer string, we if uh, what this is one of the things that this problem expects where, and it's one of the reasons if we solve it this way we might get lead uh, TLE, time limit exceeded. So we can have another chunking strategy where we can consider for uh, characters I 0 to 7 and next as an empty array initially, and then we can start adding candidates. And we can also push this candidate here. So and we can also queue these elements this way. And so at the end we can consider this queue. Uh, yeah, so let's go to the Leetcode editor and let's try applying all these things to a possible solution. Initially we are going to have certain hash map to track all the characters frequency. So for each character we are going to add it to the frequency hash map, and we are going to increase the character count of each character that we store in hash map. So we are only going to consider the valid set of characters which have occurrence of k times. So we are going to have a separate array where we are going to keep track of such characters. So we are going to sort all the characters just to make sure we end up with a lexicographically sorted value. So this would be a function which would help us to calculate a specific set of characters t is valid. So this would contain, let's say, t dot repeat k times, and we are going to check if it occurs in the same sequence of the input string, else we return false. So for that we are going to yes, Let's be return false. Okay, so now coming to the main part, we are going to have queue which would be of initially empty string and also some from here. So we are going to start working with possible answers of subsequence characters. Okay, so as we progress, we are continuously going to consider the next set of characters. Right? Okay, so after all this, we are also going to okay. Let's try submitting the solution. Okay, so this should be const. as you can see, the solution gets submitted. The time complexity would be, uh, firstly we are iterating through each character, and also we are also creating these set of pairs of characters as a valid subsequence, so it would be t into k, right? So time complexity would be s into t into k, right? Space complexity would be of 1, or at the max of 1, uh, or maybe a very minimal space complexity, uh, as we do not have much of a storage here, so we are only going to store certain set of characters and again pop them out of the queue, right? If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.